foremost, I would like to thank all of you for joining in today. Today, we have a very interesting session planned for all of you. The topic of today's session is: Are we ready for the mobile mind shift? So, rather than taking a macro level view on the way the mobile has been adopted, we'll actually go down and look at how the behavioral change is happening, also referred to as in how the mobile mind shift is happening. The key takeaways that you can expect from today's session is to understand the concept of the mobile movement, mapping your customer journey and the mobile movements that are part of the journey, opportunities and options for a brand to own their customers' mobile movement, and the idea cycle. To lead this session, we have with us Sanjay Mehta. He is a business owner and joint CEO of Social Wavelength. He's a known personality in the digital world in India. Welcome, Sanjay. I'm really delighted to have you here with us today, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your view on this topic. Without taking any further time, I'll now hand over the session to Sanjay. Just to let you know, those of you joining us for the first time, all of you are muted by default. So, at any time during the session, if you have any question, you can just type it down in the question panel, and we'll take a question in between also. And after about 30-35 minutes, we'll open the Q&A session. That's it from my side. Over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Kapil. Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be on a Digital Vidya webinar once again, and which I am deeply inspired by and working to see how we can make an impact in this space. And I thought it would be a good subject for the audience also today. So, as the subject says, are you ready for the mobile mind shift? And you know, as it says at the bottom of the screen, there has been a lot of inspiration. Rather, a large part of this presentation comes out of a book which is called The Mobile Mind Shift, which is from Forrester Research. So if anybody wants to go deeper into the subject, I would recommend you to get hold of the book and read it. Okay. So at the outset, what when I say mobile mind shift, or what is the fundamental meaning, first of all, of the word mind shift? So, in a sense, in a very literal sense, it is a shift in the way the mind thinks about something, of course. So it's a, like I said, it's a very literal uh, understanding of the word mind shift. But a little more elaboration is when a society or a culture or a community starts looking at something in a different way, in a very different perspective. You can say that a mind shift has taken place. The way a perspective has changed, that's the mind shift, that from here onwards or from this point onwards, you think about it differently. So that's the concept of a mind shift. Now, bringing the context of mobile, here's a graph, and I'm sure many of you would have seen graphs and charts of this kind many a times. This one, of course, very clearly points to the fact that how smartphones are going sort of way beyond the world of PCs. So PCs from such a long time had at best reached about 100 million shipment per quarter. And when you think of smartphones, they're already in the region approaching almost 400 million shipments per quarter between iOS and Android. And that's that shows the huge impact that the smartphones are making in the world in terms of being an access device to the internet. So yes, I think a lot of us understand this, and uh, we know this that so this is going to be the mobile economy, and is going to be the first way in which the internet is accessed by a lot of people. All that is, I think, fairly well known to everybody. So then, if that is the case, what's so new about this subject today? Uh, Naturally, the question will come up. So, okay, we've known that mobile is big, especially in India, it's really big, and that's how the large growth of internet is happening. in India. So what's new? What are we trying to say differently today? So here's the thing. You see the next slide. What we say is that mobile has smartphone for just about anything. And in that sense, this is an era of the mobile mind shift. Okay. Um, to define it a little more clearly, next slide, we say that the mobile mind shift is the expectation that I can get what I want in my immediate context and moments of need. Okay, this is like kind of a fundamental definition of the mobile mind shift that using a mobile, I can pretty much get whatever I require at this point. So that's the, let's say, the fundamental understanding of mobile mind shift. The expectation that I can get what I want in my immediate context and moments of need. So to understand it better, uh, I'm on the street looking for direction. I say, okay, fine, I have a phone, I have a smartphone, I can pull up a map, I can get it. I want to know the, somebody's coming and I have to go and receive them at the airport. There's, there is a search engine, there is email, there's everything on in the palm of your hand. And that almost is an empowering feeling that as long as I have my smartphone and it's with me, I don't need to worry. And that kind of empowerment or that kind of sense is the feeling of the mobile mind shift. Okay. So I would like to pose a question to everybody here on the in the audience. Do you feel this way? Do you feel that you are empowered because you have a smartphone with you? Do you feel the element of the mobile mind shift? And that if you have a smartphone, you can pretty much take care of yourself. Do you feel that kind of a feeling? Do you have a sense of that? Do share with us your thoughts on this or through the comment or through the question thing. Just it's just a sense that to what extent does a person in India feel the sense of a mobile mind shift? So just love to hear your views on this. Okay, so carrying forward, um, before, as you can see this little image, if a consumer had to connect with any kind of business, whether it's a service, whether it's a product, whether it's a store, the consumer had to go to the store or basically head there and get whatever he or she wanted, and that's how the cycle would happen. And now this is what has changed. The consumer uses the phone and through the phone makes the connection with the business, and again the business again responds back through that same connection on the phone, and that's how a consumer gets the product or the service that he or she desires. So this is that shift that you just need to have a phone to get whatever you want. um, in a similar context, if you look at the next images, you can see that in a before world, the equation was heavily loaded towards the institutions concerned. When I say institutions, again, as I said, it could be any business, retailer, store, whatever, because they had all the information, they had pricing, they had the location advantage. So a customer had to actually make her way to the institution and get what she wanted because it was the dice was loaded in the on the side of the institution. And what has changed thanks to technology is that all of this now are already accessible to the customer. Information, price, and location doesn't matter because it's from wherever the customer is, the access is available. So that's a shift basically which has happened thanks to the mobile device, the smartphone. And if you look at the next slide, what it really translates to in terms of customer expectations, and mind you, this slide, of course, from a US context, is a slide from 2013. So, and we are in 2015. So obviously these expectations could have only grown. And even then, what were the expectations? That a consumer expects a business to have at least a mobile friendly website. 62% of consumers felt that a business should have it. If I'm doing work with somebody, they should also at least have a mobile friendly website. Okay. And in the context of, mobile friendly, I mean, basically what we're talking about is things like basic responsive website and stuff like that. So a site which has been optimized for the mobile. That's a basic expectation. Several people also expect a business to have a mobile app. So, okay, so you have a website, but can you make it simple and easy for me through an app? That's the second expectation that consumers start having. And the third is a location specific experience. The fact that unlike a desktop, your mobile device from which you access any data, any information, you are on the move, you are at different places. So they would like a business to give you location specific experience. In other words, that if I'm on the phone and I'm searching for, let's say, Cafe Coffee Day, or I'm looking for Cafe Coffee Day information, they should already tell me that you are, 1 kilometer away from the nearest Cafe Coffee Day, and it's located at so and so place. So that they've recognized that I'm not only looking for Cafe Coffee Day on my phone, but they know that wherever I'm located, and hence in context of my location, they're giving me that additional bit of information. So this is what is happening with customer expectations as a result of the, so to say, mobile mind shift. And again, at this point, I would like to pose a question for the audience, that do you have similar expectations? If you as a customer work, I'm sure all of us work with a whole lot of brands, a whole lot of companies. Do you believe that a company or a brand that you're dealing with should have a mobile friendly website or mobile app, should be location specific, all of those? And how do the brands that you deal with, how do they measure up on these? Do you see a lot of sites already becoming very mobile friendly? Do you see several of them having apps, or do you feel let down? Okay. Personally speaking, giving you my opinion, I feel let down a lot of times, with very, very basic services. Today, a lot of companies, a lot of brands want us to transact online. They want us to, sort of make our insurance payments online, or do some net banking or transaction of any other kind. And yet, when I go there to fill out a form or do a transaction, a lot of these websites are made for the desktop, and they don't even scale properly on the mobile. And I have to do a pinch and a left and right scroll to figure out what information is where, and try to make it's a very, very unfriendly way to fill out a form or do a transaction. So they want me to do business on an online and on online, and I am online through my phone, and they won't make it friendly on my phone. So that's a shame. So in this world, if a business which is expecting online transaction is still not responsive and doesn't have a good app, they're already making me feel bad about them. So having said that, I would love to hear what you all think about it. Do you feel that Indian businesses are getting there in terms of having all these, and do you expect them at all or not? Okay. So carrying for further, in continuing the consumer expectations, so in the context of mobile mind shift, the things that the consumer is looking for, of course, at the end, what one is looking for is the convenience. But the convenience comes out of three very basic elements: immediacy, simplicity, and context. And you need to understand this, that when I'm on a phone, how is it different from being on a desktop? Okay, so I'm on the phone, I'm on the move. There's a larger likelihood that I'm going to be looking for things which I am having an immediate context. So I, I'm on my way to a restaurant, and I'm looking for the restaurant directions. There's a good chance that I may also want to do a booking of a table because I'm headed there. So there's a sense of immediacy. If they tell me that, you know, our working hours are 9 to 5 and this and that, and so please contact us tomorrow, then they lose me there because they're not giving me an option to do something immediately. because I would have searched or I would have looked for them with a certain immediacy of context in mind. Similarly, remember that a phone, besides being so convenient, unfortunately also has a small screen. It's a little screen and with only so much play there. So if you, unlike a desktop where you may have elaborate text and multiple scrolls and then you reach your point of action, here the designer of the mobile interface needs to make it very intuitive and very simple. We should anticipate that at this point, what would a consumer be looking for, and can I give them with a sense of simplicity that is easy to understand and you're right there. And obviously the context that uh, again uh, from the mobile, one knows location, one knows time, and there is a context built on account of all these factors. So since I know this person is currently close to my store and is looking for something, can my interface change to something more contextual and more relevant than the general stuff? A typical desktop website does not change. It has the same screen and same interface, whether you are looking at it from one location or another location. But here, because you know it's a mobile, you also have a way to understand or you know the time of the day. All of those things put together, can you make it contextual? And in doing all of these, you are, as a business, allowing the consumer a sense of heightened convenience, which endears the consumer to your brand and potentially stays loyal with you. So when I think of immediacy, is basically this. If you see the next screen, today's generation, today's consumer, anyway thinks like this. They say that I want instant gratification, and I want it now. I mean, it's just a excessive, sense of immediacy. That right here, right now is what I'm talking about. Don't tell me about tomorrow, next week, next month. With that context on the mobile screen, can you take actually the consumer right from information to engagement to transaction to closure to delivery, whatever, and all of those things happening pretty much immediately. So that's something if you are trying to build a mobile uh, interface to your consumer, think about that. Can you build it all together in a sense which gives an immediacy to the consumer? The second is a element of simplicity. And I've just put a couple of screens, a couple of screenshots, and you know that something like OLX, and I mean, I don't have any particular connection with OLX, I'm not a client or anything, but I love their interface for being it so easy. Take a picture, price it, sell it. I mean, it's very intuitive. My mother sells a lot of products on OLX, and she does it independently. And you know, obviously the interface has been so easy to use, which enables a person is not necessarily a millennial or a tech savvy generation person to also use that interface very well. So that simplicity is what matters, not a complicated interface with a lot of things to be done before you actually get to your point. So that's not. Similarly with Uber, I mean, they've made the whole thing simple. You click on it, you can see a vehicle, you can see how it's coming close to wherever you are. It alerts you when the vehicle is nearby. All of those are what are required on a mobile interface. That's the simplicity part. So easy does it is what works in this case. And then comes the element of context. So if you can see the screen, this is a screen of a hotel group. And what happens is that, say you have booked a stay at the hotel, and normally you see a certain kind of interface of the hotel app. But as your date of stay approaches, so say when you have 48 hours to your next stay at the hotel, a couple of buttons change, and one of them shows a room number and the other shows a direction. So they know that you are going to be coming and staying at the hotel within the next 48 hours. So the menu option, the buttons which were there, couple of them make it more relevant for you, that, oh, okay, so I'm going, so what's going to be my room number? Oh, they already allotted to it. And maybe if I'm the consumer and I'm going to go to the hotel from the airport or something, then I might have a challenge to find the hotel. So they already put a link for it for directions there. So this is so contextual. They know that you're going to be there, and they're providing the information ahead of time. So this is what is meant, and this is possible because they know who you are, and they know that you're going to travel, and the directions are also can be relevant in terms of the wherever you are from that point, how you can reach the hotel. So all those things are already packed in. So these are the three key elements to creating convenience, which is again immediacy, simplicity, and context. What it actually comes down to is that you are servicing you or you need to serve your customers along their journey and in their mobile moments. Okay, you need to serve customers along their journey in their mobile moments. Now, first of all, the journey referred to here is not the travel journey, which happened to be the example I gave in the previous slide. We're talking about the consumer's journey in the context of your product or your service, and I'll give you a couple of examples in the coming slides, so it will become more clear. But for now, as you can see, there's a kind of a new concept which I mentioned in this slide, a concept called mobile moments. Okay, so we really need to understand what is this concept called the mobile moment and what is it. So here it is. The mobile moment. A mobile moment is a point in time and space when someone pulls out a mobile device to get something they want in their immediate context. Okay. Uh, I repeat, a mobile moment is a point in time and space when someone pulls out a mobile device to get something they want in their immediate context. So what we are talking about is the point in time when you intuitively reach for your phone. You have something in mind, suddenly you don't even think. You quickly get your phone and you know what you want to do. So like I was telling earlier, you're on the road and you're searching for some location and you intuitively pull up your phone and pull out the Google Maps. Or you're on the street and you want to go from point A to B and you pull out your phone and reach for your Uber app or Ola app or whatever. Or for example, you want to book tickets and you pull out your phone and get the Book My Show app and get going. So these are the mobile moments, the point where you feel that, oh, you quickly reach the phone for the answer. That is the mobile moment. Now, from a brand's point of view, from a business's point of view, there are multiple mobile moments that the consumer experiences in the context of their brand. Okay, and we'll come to examples, and this will become a little more clear in the next couple of slides. But the challenge or the opportunity is, can the brand own those mobile moments for the customer? Can you own the mobile moments for your customer by being there and giving them the answers what they want? That is an opportunity to win the mobile war or mobile opportunity. So, for example, if you see the next slide, here's a slide for an airline, and from a consumer's or a passenger's point of view, the various mobile moments that the consumer could have in the context of his journey with the airline. So 2 weeks before he is going to travel, the moment could be that he wants to book a reservation or change an existing reservation, and potentially he can intuitively go to the phone to do this. So there's a mobile moment. 2 days before he's flying, he may want to request an upgrade or he may want to reserve a seat. So that again is a mobile moment, because if he says that I can do it on my phone, he'll just pull out a phone and try to do that. So that's a mobile moment. A couple of hours before the flight, he may want to do check-in. Of course, you can do maybe 24 hours before, whatever. So he wants to do check-in. If possible, he wants to check the gate. He wants to reconfirm the departure time. He wants to see if he has lounge access. All of these can also happen on a phone. So these are also potential mobile moments. And then when he's on the flight, he might have a concern about arrival time, food order, whether he's got the right food instruction. Can he see what kind of movies are available? Can he see whether there is Wi-Fi on the plane when he's in the flight? Then after he's landed, maybe there is a thing about ground transportation, lost luggage, navigation. Couple of days later, he may want to see whether he's earned the miles which he for the flight which he took, any other customer service survey that he wants to participate. couple of weeks later, you may want to see the mild status, reward, travel, upcoming reservation, etc. So for the same consumer with the airline concerned, there are multiple mobile moments, and the opportunity for the airline concerned is to win in these mobile moments by being there, giving all these information, all these opportunities for the passenger very intuitively. So that's basically what we define as mobile moments. And if you look at the next slide now, if you look at a customer journey, there are mobile moments across various uh, points, as the customer interacts with the brand, from engagement, from discovery. So just to discover the brand, uh, so you may say it's the marketing context that he discovers. So maybe he sees when he was browsing something, he discovers your brand as an ad, or in some other context. There are sales moments. So when you start exploring the purchase, can I see your brand? Because I'm exploring it on the phone, and I see your brand, or I see a potential deal of your brand. That's a sales moment. Again, impulse purchase or guided sale, all of those are sale moments. The actual purchase cycle, actual brand, and then the post buy, setup moment, use moment, care moment, all of those are also, while I'm setting up, do I go to the phone and see, is there a YouTube video for showing me how to set up, and etc. etc. Post usage, there may be a customer service related mobile moment, and thereafter there could be a loyalty moment. So these and many more could be the kind of mobile moments which are experienced in the context of your customer's journey with regards to your brand. And the point is, how many of those do you as a brand own? That's really the challenge or the opportunity. So for example, Uber, as you can see in the next slide, Uber wins the mobile moment because it is able to match passengers and drivers, and whenever you're looking for a car, or you're right there, the brand helps you through their app in getting there. Or for example, Starbucks wins because it serves customers in their mobile coffee moment, and I'll show you a Starbucks customer journey slide just next, as to how they win. So again, like we saw in the case of the airline, if you look at the customer of Starbucks, maybe 10 minutes before he thinks of actually having coffee, he has a mobile moment where he's looking for a cafe, looking for the nearest Starbucks, wants to get directions. So that's the mobile moment. And at that point, uh, uh, from a Starbucks point of view, who are we serving? A commuter. What is their context? Looking for the closest cafe. What is the motivation? He needs a cafe fix. Then, as the customer finds the directions and walks to the Starbucks, he may want to check his Starbucks point balance or reload his card. So that's a mobile moment. As he's standing in the queue, waiting for his turn to reach the cashier, he may want to check if he has any rewards on his Starbucks card. He wants to browse any messages from Starbucks which might have come, like a pick of the week, etc. Again, there are a bunch of motivation that from a consumer that the Starbucks could be addressing. And at the register, he may want to redeem the award by showing the phone that, okay, here's a reward which I've got. And he could even just simply scan to pay. And this is probably, especially in the global context where they are scanning, the Square and other payment services, that he can simply swipe his phone and scan and pay. So it's again a mobile moment. And maybe 10 minutes after he's done and walked out of the Starbucks, he may want to see if he got his rewards or he got any other e-gifts or something. So these are the various potential mobile moments in the different contexts for a Starbucks customer. So in summary on the mobile moment, basically what you need to do is to think through all possible mobile moments in your consumer's journey. And where the mobile moments extend throughout the consumer journey, in the previous slides, we see a few important categories, but potentially there are opportunities that you can come up with beyond these few examples that I gave. And for several of them, you may already know the kind of solution that you want to design and build, but for many others, you may not know, and you may have to think through beyond uh, beyond the ones which are coming intuitively. And that's where the new technology, through connected devices and all come up, that they they are enabling hitherto unknown opportunity. So because earlier the concept of connecting devices and all that was not that possible or easy, you may not have even thought of those answers. But now with all those opportunities, you may come up with something new. So in fact, as the quote below shows, James McQueary of Forrester says that when companies adopt new technology, they do old things in new ways. But when companies internalize technology, they find new things to do, which is the latter part which I was talking about. So you can obviously do you're already checking in a passenger at your airline counter. Now you're enabling him to be checked in on the phone. So you're doing the old thing in a new way. That's okay, but that's not big enough. When companies internalize technology, they find new things to do. For example, an airline offers you the possibility of finding passengers you may know on the same flight. That was not being done earlier. But now, because of connected devices, a way to connect Facebook friends or LinkedIn friends or something on the phone and through an airline contact, you may find a way to discover a friend who's also on your flight and maybe want to book a seat next to him or her. That's a new thing which was not possible earlier. That happens when companies internalize technology. So essentially looking beyond the what is already happening to newer things which are all possible thanks to technology. And at this point, again, question to all of you: can you list 5 key mobile moments in your consumer's journey? So if you're into whatever business that you are, can you think very specifically, very clearly as to what are the different mobile moments in your consumer's journey in context of your brand, in context of your business, and list it out and share it. So we come nearing the end of the presentation. So the last thought here is that how do you do it? Okay, so then obviously you need an idea. Except here we are talking about idea with an IDEA, and I'll tell you what they are, what these letters stand for. The idea cycle in this context of the mobile moment is actually a business discipline to win the moment. Now, specifically, we use the word discipline is that really, if you say, oh, I need to be doing something on mobile, so let's build a brilliant app for our business and make it the Taj Mahal of all apps. Think through it, take a year to build it, put it out, and we are done. That's never going to be how it works. So there is a whole cycle, and it's an iterative process by which you actually a final answer. So here, what does IDEA stand for? So I is to identify the mobile moments and the context. So that's the first part, as we were discussing earlier. Find your consumers' mobile moments. Based on that, design the mobile engagement. How to make it simple, how to make it intuitive, how to make it contextual, all those things which we saw earlier, how to do that. And once you design it, engineer your platforms, processes, and people. So because when you're engineering, it's not just a question of engineering the mobile app, for example. What's the platform? Will it be on Android? Will it be on iOS? Where are your customers? What is the process? How will they write to you? How will they connect back with you? And if there is an involvement of your people to kind of make the cycle happen, put that also, that how are you going to engineer the people for getting it right. So that's the engineer part, which then once you do all that and put it out, analyze what's happening. How are the consumers using your app or whatever interface that you've created on the mobile? Analyze, monitor the performance, optimize outcomes, and what might happen is that you come back with an understanding that, oh, you need to tweak it somewhat, because based on analysis you found that consumers want something which is not proper. We need to redo something. In fact, especially in this mobile world, it says that as a ballpark, if you have 100 rupees budget to spend on your mobile tech and mobile engagement ideas, probably you spend only 20 rupees in the first initial outlay. Keep almost 80% of your budget available to constantly improvise over the whole year, because that's what you'll typically end up doing. So that's the idea cycle. And why I again emphasize that it's a discipline, is that you do not think about doing the whole thing in one shot and trying to create a Taj Mahal, because you will probably spend all your money and still not get it right, because with all the research that you do, chances are that you will not be getting it completely right. Okay, so that was the idea cycle, and that's basically what I had to say. Just to summarize the webinar content today. So, small thoughts. One is find your customers' most powerful mobile moments. Um, then master the four-step idea cycle. Identify, design, engineer, and analyze. Uh, then the third part is remember that every interaction that your customer has with your brands is a part of customer experience. So, including the interaction on the mobile, through um, various features that you provide, everything is a customer experience. So, you do a bad job there. It's not just that he's not coming to your store, he's on his phone, but that also counts as a bad customer experience because he's not happy with the way you design the experience for him. And finally, the whole point is that the mobile moment is not generally about your brand, it's about his needs. So if he wants to book tickets, that's the need. If he wants direction, that's the need. So if you as a brand believe that it's part of the consumer journey for your brand, and you do not own that mobile moment, somebody else could win it. So for example, if I have a need for booking movie tickets, and which is my mobile moment, and if Book My Show already owns that because it makes me a great, fun, intuitive app where I can do the booking very quickly. If PVR or somebody else comes up with something later on, there's a chance that they may not be able to own my mobile moment because it's already owned by Book My Show. So that's how it is. So if you are in a business and if you don't own the mobile moment in context of your business, there's a chance that somebody else could win it. So yeah, those are the points, and that's basically the content of the presentation. So I'm done and open to question answers at this point.
Thanks, Sanjay. That was really a wonderful presentation. In fact, we were looking at creating our own mobile app, and that has given me a lot of clarity in terms of how to think about it. So, guys, we are open for questions. If you have any question, please type it down in the question panel. Yeah, I hope you're able to see the question screen. Do you want me to read out the questions?
Yeah, actually, some of them seem to be like conversations, so I
Sure.
couldn't kind of
Okay, I'll read
get
it
where
out.
the question starting. But there are
There's a
some,
question from
okay, I think there are some answered questions. I don't know.
you can actually just press
Hello?
unclick the show answered questions.
Okay, 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 sure.
There's a question from
Okay.
Devi. Do
So
we
anyway, if you,
see big difference for businesses in B2B space?
yeah, I mean, you see, finally at the consumer level, uh, whether he's a business consumer or like a B2C consumer, the fact is that he's moving around with a device. And, for example, if I'm a B2B business and I want to reach a certain quality audience, maybe it's a CXOs of large companies, even they move around with their phones, and I might want to share some, their mobile moments are to at the airports or whenever they're waiting for a flight or commuting on the car, they want to catch up on news, something new happening in their field. Now, if I as a brand am servicing them and if I can provide them some interesting content in that mobile moment of theirs in terms of daily updates or something like that, they are going to be able to find value. And in the process, I, as a B2B vendor or a supplier, am able to reach my target audience. So, sure, I mean, the motivation is still the same, being able to satisfy the mobile moment of your customer and being there when he needs you.
Great. There's another question from Ronak from an app promotion perspective. He's mentioning that there are so many apps. How can I get a consumer install my app?
Okay, that's slightly out of context for this. I mean, there's a whole. I'm sure even Digital Media has done other webinars about marketing and promotion of apps. So here is a question was if you keep it a little bit more contextual to this webinar is about being ready for a mobile mind shift. So fine, identifying what kind of app to make, how to identify the mobile moments, how to create and design an app. Those things are here. But once you're done, how to get across to your customers there's a different sort of approaches about marketing and promotion and all that, which would probably justify a whole webinar. And if already Digital Vidya has not done, I'm sure it justifies that. But it's a slightly out of context question. If I if we can sort of address it separately, that'll be better.
Got that. In the context of today's discussion, there is a question from Kavna, Kavna Shah. The question is, while we may want to capture mobile movement of for our customers, there is a high risk of bordering annoyance if we pick up the wrong movement. How does we discern?
So I think that's where the whole idea cycle comes in, right? So uh, that you the whole idea cycle in the initial stage, you are identifying the mobile moments. You're figuring out which ones you want to own or can own. So first of all, you'll identify. You may not supposing there are 20 mobile moments relevant to your customer in context of your brand. You may choose to own five of them because they make the most sense, both from a business point of view as well as from the need of the customer being most acute. And then you design and engineer your solution on an app and put it out. Now, as you analyze, you might find that some of them are not working, they are creating nuisance, people are complaining, this, that, whatever. Then you have to go and retweak it. I mean, basically, that's the whole point that you may not get it right in first shot. Of course, that initial identification and designing and all needs to put in a lot of thought that which one appear to be the most required, most necessary for your customer. If you built it right, you may be close to getting it right, but you may still find that in the actual usage, you're not completely on it and may need to tweak it further. So that's a iterative cycle. You'll figure it as you keep doing and analyzing.
Great. In the continuation of that, Kavna, she just added sure, but just adding on, will the trial and error brings in bad repute?
It at face he or she doesn't need that requirement, and then you're sort of forcing it every time. You somehow find a way to associate with a telco or something that every time the phone is switched on or something, your brand comes on top or something. You're actually causing potential irritation. But if yours is an app and you put out some communication through various channels that you are now offering this app for this purpose, and you find some people downloading it, they will use it still at their own requirement and their own discretion. So you're not really bugging them. And you have identified the right moments and they're using it. Some people may not find it very interesting, so they may not use it. So now you may analyze that out of 10,000 downloads, only 1,000 have become regular users. So 9,000 probably felt that it didn't go well, or maybe in 1,000 downloads, 900 didn't come back again. So you know that whatever you had to offer, you kind of not got it so right. You can always retweak and send out notifications, send out version 2, and that's where, of course, the beta testing and all those things, to the masses on day one. You're going to do beta testing with a smaller audience and test out and see how it's working with everybody, and then do a launch and a larger promotion. So there is a way to address these issues, and as long as, like I said, if you're not in the face with something irritating, I don't think there's too much of a reputation issue unless you got it really badly wrong, which hopefully you don't.
Great. The earlier question by Devi, in continuation to that, Priyanka has asked a question. In case of B2B, the decision making is more complex and not owned by an individual. So, is it relevant from that point of view?
Yeah, whether it's B2B or B2C, there are some products and categories which have a longer sales cycle, and some have a quicker and impulsive sales cycle. So, uh, sure, one is, basically this is not such as so much as mobile mind shift as much as a typical path to purchase kind of a question that your customer could be at various stages in the path to purchase. It could just be at a introduction stage or engagement stage or whatever comparison stage. Similarly, in the B2B at the B2B client end, there could be people who are advocates to the final purchase, people who are influencers, people who are decision makers, people who allocate budgets. There are different people, but as long as you know that okay, this particular activation or activity which you're doing is from the context of appealing to a person who is an influencer to the end decision, then you will promote it to that kind of an audience and you will give them the right messaging and context for being an influencer vis-a-vis somebody who's a decision maker. Because you have to work on all those different kinds of people who influence the end decision, because the influencer, as he influences, should pick your brand. The advocate, as he advocates, should also recommend your features or your services. And finally, the customer, who's going to be the decision maker, also feels that you are the best choice. So for that, you would have had to, give the respective inputs to all of them. And if you've done that right, then you are nudging your way up to the final sale. Uh, so that's how it works, and that's what it takes.
Great. There's another question from Nilesh. He wants to know how small businesses can get benefited by mobile movements, for example, like electronics shop.
So, I mean, the thing is that again, an electronic shop would have a certain identified existing customer they want to reach. Now, those customers perhaps could be in the nearby location, in the proximity of the shop, or people who are already coming shop with them in the past, all that. So, knowing that this is the set of customers and what are their relevant mobile moments with regards to my business. So maybe I also offer a servicing part, and if they have a problem on their television or whatever, they will need help. There's a good chance that they will want help in the immediate context, and I am nearby, I'm a shop, I'm nearby, I can offer the service. So can I create a mobile interface for them to quickly connect with me whenever they have any challenge on the television, that they connect with us and we are able to send somebody there, creating the dependence we are building on, and also having an ability to keep putting out our brand as well as our offering. So next time when he wants to buy his second television, he knows that you are around the corner, and he also knows that you have a great reputation for giving service. And you've been there on his mobile phone, wants to buy. So that identify the audience and identify their mobile moments, build that connect. It's the same. Yeah, users feel a much of a mobile mind shift question as just a general mobile related question. Um, I guess the, the fact that a lot of brand videos get a lot of views means that some audience at least likes it. Um, so ideally, in this world, digital world, the more relevant you can be in putting your content to the right audience, the better chance you have of engaging them. So because you have an opportunity to slice and dice and promote your content to a specific kind of audience, if you know this is a brand video of a certain kind and it will appeal to certain type of audience, and you make sure that you target accordingly, there's the best chance of engagement. And if you don't do, and if you take a very generic audience and you put it to many people, there's going to be a certain failure rate, or a lot of people not connecting because it was not relevant to them. So it's about targeting and ensuring that you get to the right person with the right content.
Great. I think we're done with most of the questions now. Um,
Okay.
Anybody who wants to discuss anything, I'm actually putting down all the hands right now. So if there is something that you want to discuss, you can just press the hand raise button and then I'll mute you. Simultaneously, I'm actually launching this poll on your screen. You can consider it more like a commercial break. So, as Digital Vidya, we do courses in digital marketing and mobile marketing space. So, if you want to take any of our courses, you can just mention yes over here, and then I'll ask someone from our team to contact you. Also, if you want to have any discussion on the topic of that we're discussing today, just press the hand raise button and I'll unmute you. Great. Sanjay, I think we're done with the Q&A. Everybody has got all their question answered.
Okay.
So at this point of time, really want to thank you for taking time out. It's been a really, really interesting session, especially for me. I've got a lot of inputs on how to really go about thinking about mobile app for digital Vidya. So thanks a lot, and thank you everybody for your participation. I hope you found this session valuable.
Sure. Most welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. The session is closed.